Hey, my name is Ben PM. Welcome to Nightbreed Metal Radio. I've got three bands for you today, starting with Amaranthe. Amaranthe are a Swedish heavy metal band that have a real mix of like power metal and really like catchy poppy stuff. Anyway, Olof, one of the founding members of the band, has a chat with us, and here he is.
Super excited to head down under in just over a week.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. This is the first time you've played here, right?
Yeah, the very first time, and obviously been around playing shows for 23 years on a more professional level, and the first time to head to Australia and New Zealand, so that's super exciting.
Yeah, of course. So Amaranthe is a real eclectic mix of styles, yeah? Like, heavy metal, power metal, super catchy pop hooks and that. Was, like, when you were starting out, was there a conversation where you said, okay, we want to mix these specific styles? Like, how did that kind of come about?
Yeah, it was a very conscious decision, so to speak, because I had been touring and releasing albums with my two previous bands, so Dragonland and Night Rage. And my first band was power metal. The second one was more melodic death metal. And I figured that I wanted to start a band that was closer to my taste in music, and something that hadn't really been done before. So something that sat a little bit apart from everything else, just to make it more creatively inspiring and challenging, if you will.
Yeah.
And I met Elise back in 2005. We collaborated on some Dragonland stuff, and I helped her to apply for Nightwish back in 2006 also, after Taya was let go. So I realized that there was an enormous amount of potential in this lady, not only from her singing, but also, with the songwriting, and also coming from a different genre completely. Even though she was very aware of metal and rock, it wasn't necessarily something that she had done before. So I think that was the seed, and all the other guys that was in the band at the time, we had all been having these conversations of, what can you do in this genre? Where could you take it? And we were really excited about, trying to do something brand new and fresh. So that was core and center in the conversation from the very get-go. And if I go back to the very first demos that we did in 2008, you can also clearly tell that even with the very first demo, the very big part of the DNA strain that became Amaranthe was already there from the very first song.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think you still have a very recognizable Amaranthe sound. Like, those different styles don't clash. Like, was that ever difficult at all, trying to mix it right and make it kind of feel right,
Interesting enough, I guess it should have been, but I mean, early on we were blending some pretty out there and ridiculous things. We started the band or started to write songs in late 2007. So the dominant style at the time was more metalcore and especially deathcore stuff. So it was kind of really growl centric, and I guess, and I had, earlier in the 90s, I was growing up with melodic death metal here in Gothenburg, like, In Flames, Dark Tranquillity, and achieving some really big success. So they had already started to incorporate a little bit of the elements that would later, infuse. Bands like Scar Symmetry that were in a few songs going really poppy. Also Soilwork were also kind of showing the way that you could go there. So essentially what we did is that we started from that path. We were standing upon the shoulders of giants, let's say, and then kind of saw, like, what's the natural conclusion if we take this not a little bit further, but much further. So there was already kind of a somewhat of a template for it. So for example, when we had really down-tuned guitars with some keyboards and really heavy riffing, and Elise was starting to do like kind of almost R&B style wailings over, already immediately we were feeling like, okay, some people will hate this, but we love it. So let's see where this organically goes. So we were quite confident already from the beginning that this is something that's going to work on the musical level. And then if people hate it, they don't listen to it, that's a different thing, because this you can never predict to 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously worked for you, man. Like, people hook in. That's cool.
It's been
Yeah.
many years now.
Yeah, yeah. Having three lead vocalists is something else that gives Amaranth that sort of strong, recognizable sound as well, I think. Like, obviously you got the growls and clean singing and stuff, but like, is there ever any experimentation where like, oh, maybe we'll move this vocal part over here, that kind of thing? Like, how does that kind of all come together?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Sometimes it slots into position, super very, very naturally. And it might not always be in the way that you are predicting, like if you're writing a guitar riff or if you're arranging a certain part, because sometimes a really heavy part can call for contrast rather than to underline it with even more growls, basically.
Mm,
So sometimes it slots into place very naturally, as I said. Sometimes it requires a little bit of experimentation, because usually when we write the songs, like the skeletal structure of the songs,
mm,
it can very often be very quick and very spontaneous. Me and the other songwriter, Elise, when we sit down, very often the core of the song is done in 40 minutes to an hour and a half or something like that. Very quick, very spontaneous. Try to make everything work like really, really organically. After that, there's a lot of arrangements, like arrange the keyboards, arrange the guitars in detail, and put the solos and arrange the drums in detail, all these things. And this is also where it comes in, like, okay, so who should sing this part?
mm,
Because Elise is really good good with writing for Nils also. But sometimes there are parts that are written for Elise that just works beautifully for Nils. He's a super versatile singer. So it can be a really, really cool experience hearing something that you think is going to sound really poppy when Nils sings it, and he sings it in a David Coverdale or a Dio kind of way
mm.
instead, and it becomes something else, and you realize that this is actually better for the song. So this can be a very interesting process actually to slot, to find the perfect balance.
Mm. Yeah, that's cool. So, when the two of you get together to write, like, how does that work? Are you bringing some riffs you've already got, and like, is Elise bringing melodies or something? Like, how does that kind of work?
Yeah, kind of exactly like that, actually. It and a little bit of spontaneousness as well, of course. But
Mm,
these days, what I tend to do is that I would call it a musical mood board, almost of
okay.
sorts. That I write a little intro that will set tempo and key and these things, and also the general mood for the song. And then I kind of stop it at the intro, and Elise always has about 10,000 ideas of how the songs could progress. But usually we find that way pretty quickly. Like, okay, so this is what the song should be. This is what the theme is, the musical theme, the lyrical theme. These things tend to get nailed down pretty quickly, especially since Elise is giving such a wide array, like maybe 10 different vocal lines that all of them really work, but they all head in slightly different directions. So to explain, like we have a song called "Damnation Flame," which is on a little bit of a vampiric theme,
Mm,
first single from the latest album, The Catalyst. So
mm,
I just wrote that intro with absolutely no intention of making it a semi-gothic vampire song. But as soon as Elise started to sing the vocal lines, it was clear that, okay, it's that kind of song. And then you begin to work from that and arrange it. And the same is true vice versa. Like on the last album before the latest, on the Manifest album, we have a song called Strong, where Elise had vocal lines and even some basic chords. And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, okay, she's thinking of this as a ballad. I'm thinking of this as a mid-tempo, really big song,
mm,
like immediately. And third way is that we just sit down, with a empty sheet of blank paper, basically, and we start jamming away on things. Like on the latest album, The Catalyst. There's a song called "Breaking the Waves" that was spontaneously written, just from beginning to end, really, really fast in this very unexpected kind of style.
mm,
But the key is that it should be spontaneous and it shouldn't be forced, basically.
mm. I read on the new album, The Catalyst, Michael. This is the first album he's got his vocals recorded on, right? How'd you get together with Michael?
Well, we were touring with him with his other band called Engel back in the day. I think it was 2015, I want to say. And we got to know him, and super cool guy, and we could obviously see on stage that he was doing a kick-ass job.
Mm.
And we didn't really think more about it because we had our we had our fixed lineup and everything. And then he got a son, and he kind of disappeared a little bit from the music business side of things. So when Henrik, our previous growler, stepped down in 2002, early 2002, then we didn't he didn't really come up in our heads immediately. But so we started kind of this underground, off the record worldwide search for potential growlers. But the really good ones tend to already have really good bands that they want to tour with and whatnot. So it wasn't easy. And Henrik is obviously a very, very, very competent growler, so it was not easy shoes to fill. But at some point I saw that Michael had kind of resurfaced, and he was looking for projects and ideas, and he also does production jobs. So I figured that, okay, it seems like he's getting active again, and we should definitely check with him, we all kind of said. And it turned out that he was up for it, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, that's cool. Your music video, Endlessly. I've seen some nice wedding videos of friends and stuff, but I'm pretty sure that's the best looking wedding video ever. Because that's your wedding, right? Like, it's footage of your wedding, yeah.
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 Thanks.
That's cool. So where was that? It's a really stunning spot. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was obviously, for obvious reasons, a fantastic day, but also the location itself. It's in close to the mountains in Transylvania.
Oh, cool.
So my wife is from Transylvania, and so we decided early on that when we are getting married, then this is the spot. And she already had a kind of location in mind, and they are very ambitious with their weddings in Romania, I can say.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started to look into all the details for the wedding, she was giving me a few options for videographers. So like video directors to document the wedding. And I was looking at these brief clips from what these guys were doing, and for that price range, it was just absolutely mind-blowing. I'm like, okay, is it actually going to look like this? And what they normally do is that they make like a truncated version of the wedding put to one specific song, and we put it to Endlessly. And then when we were on our tour with Sabaton in early 2020, I got this sent to me, and I was completely mind blown. And I was showing it to the guys in the band, and they're also like, this is as good as any of the music videos that we released. So it was never the plan to shoot it as a music video at the wedding. This was just something that we decided afterwards, because the song was also already 4 years old at that point. But we figured that this looks so nice, and the song never got a video, so let's just release it like this, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. Your song PvP was the official anthem for the Swedish Esports World Cup team, right? That's pretty cool. How'd you get involved with them?
Yeah, it was one of those phone calls out of nowhere kind of thing.
Hmm.
So the short story is that you have Per Nilsson, who used to play guitar with the Meshuggah, also plays with Scar Symmetry. It was actually who I know a little bit, throughout the years. And I also have to mention, and one of the best guitar players out there in the entire genre. So it was actually his brother who was asking, like, do you know a rock band that would fit into this kind of thing? And he thought of us probably because we have a little bit of that, energetic, digital, upbeat kind of sound. So he was just passing the contact, and it's just like, talk to my brother and maybe you can figure something out. And we in the band were thinking like, yeah, this is cool. And it was still in the pandemic, so we're not super busy at the moment for obvious reasons. So we kind of wrote something pretty quick, went down to Jacob Hansen where we record all our stuff, and jammed this out. And it's as far as I can see on Spotify, still one of the most popular songs that we have. So sometimes, things just slot in together very nicely.
That's cool. And you're also the Dragonland guitarist, of course. Are there any plans for more Dragonland in the near future?
In short, yes. How much should I be talking about this? Probably not very much yet.
Okay.
But But yes, as people are probably aware, there was 11 years between Under the Grey Banner to the Power of the Night Star albums, and it's gonna be a lot less than that until the next album.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I didn't write as much music for the Power of the Night Star as I did for the previous albums because I was very busy with Amaranthe, obviously. But and the same will be true for the next album also. But the guys have been very busy recording and demoing some really fantastic stuff. So people have some new Dragland stuff to look forward in the, I would say, very near future.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Away from your own stuff, what have you been listening to lately? What kind of music are you checking out?
Well, you caught me in a good moment there because I've been up in the north, quite far north here in Sweden, in my summer house for almost 3 months, flying back and forth between big festivals and going to the middle of nowhere. So my Spotify, if I put it on random or in the DJ mode, then it always throws out some Swedish folk music or some deep south kind of redneck American country music also. Yeah. So there's been a lot of that recently. Cool. It's not what I normally listen to, but it's kind of context sensitive in that way.
Yeah.
You know that it's that it fits perfectly for the scenery.
Cool. So we're gonna hear some country music sleeping into the Amaranthe sound.
I would say it's unlikely, but you never know.
Yeah. So we spent before you're making your way to Australia for the first time ever, which is great. August, September this year. You've got quite the back catalogue. What kind of set list can we look forward to?
Yeah, this is the cool thing, really. When I was making the very first set list for this Catalyst run, as soon as the album was out, meaning right in the middle of our European tour or in the beginning, then what you kind of realize is with 7 albums out, you have a lot to choose from. And obviously we have a bunch of what you could call hits or, more popular songs that people really want to hear. But it's what you have most of all is that you have songs that have just the right energy and fits, in just the right place for the set list. And as an example of that, we have a song called "Call Out My Name" from the first album that wasn't even released as a single, but we played it now on all the summer festivals just because it slots in just perfectly where in that part of the set, basically. So, I mean, we're obviously doing kind of a good resume, good balance of all the albums, basically. So some of the bigger songs, but also we wanted to do a few different songs that we don't normally play for Australia and for New Zealand. So there's going to be a few songs that we haven't played in a very long time, just to shake things up a little bit, which we think is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, look, I'm sure you'll be here before you know it. Thanks heaps for your time, Olof. It's been cool to chat. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can't wait to get down under, and thank you for taking the time.
Up next, I chat with Chuck Garric. This guy is a rock legend, He's played with Alice Cooper for a long time. He's played with Dio. He has his own band also called Beasto Blanco, along with Calico Cooper and Chris Latham. So here he is. This is Chuck.
Yo.
Hey, Chuck, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Where are you at?
I'm in Perth, Western Australia. Whereabouts are you? Are you on the road at the moment?
I am on the road. Yeah, I'm on the road with Alice Cooper right now, and this is going to sound silly, but I got to check. I think I'm in Utah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have a day off, so we're on our way to California. That I do know.
Yeah, nice, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it's just been a busy day, bro. It's all good though,
Yeah. Because it's the Freaks on Parade show, right? You got like Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie, Ministry, Filter, yeah?
Yeah, that starts in about a week.
Yeah,
so nice. Right now we're headlining tour dates, Alice Cooper solo headlining dates, and then we're meeting up the Zombies and the Ministries and the Filter guys here in about a week or so. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, huge show. That's cool. Yeah. So the Beasto Blanco album, Connecticut, came out July this year, yeah? I read that you worked with Chris Harms on this one, who lots of people would know. Lord of the Lost were in Eurovision last year and stuff.
Yep.
Blood and Glitter. That was very theatrical. Is that something you were looking for this album? That kind of sound?
I was looking to work with somebody like Chris Harms. I wanted to go in a different direction. I was really excited about, during the pandemic, I had a lot of time to listen to different music, a lot of time to reflect on Beasto Blanco and where we were at, what we needed to move our show forward, visually, sonically, and I had done a lot of listening to music with Calico, and just did a lot of experimental songwriting. So for me, it was more about finding somebody that got Beasto Blanco who they were and was willing to go on this change with us. And not only just kind of change a little bit, but just let's go for it. And that person was Chris Harms, man. He is such a great musician, great songwriter, solid melody lines, and also a strong enough personality to take on Calico and I and say, hey, this is the direction we're going, and we're going to do this. And we went along with him, and it's been one of the best received Beasto records out there right now. We're so super proud of it, and everybody seems to really be enjoying it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Was he involved with the songwriting and that kind of thing for this one? Like, how did that work?
Chris Harms was involved in all aspects of as a producer should be, as a songwriter, as a lyricist, as a producer, as an engineer. We worked on a lot of stuff over online, FaceTime. We would send ideas back and forth. He would send me riffs. I would send him a vocal line. I would send him riffs. He would send me a vocal line. We were just constant collaboration. Once we got all the songs together, Calico and I flew to Hamburg, Germany, and we recorded the record right there in Germany with him. And we did the entire record in about 10 days. We worked our tails off, and it was awesome. Nothing like doing a record right there on the Reeperbahn where the Beatles played, and it's got such a great rock and roll city,
Yeah, that's cool, man. I read that when Calico joined you and Chris early days, it was to sort of bring a bit more of a visual side of thing, I guess, like at the start, like a stage show kind of thing.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like, obviously she's got a Machine Girl character and stuff. Do you guys have a chat and say, oh, we're thinking about this kind of narrative, that sort of thing? Or is Calico kind of in charge of that? Like, how does that work?
No, I think it's just evolution. We've been touring together now since about 2014. I think her character has evolved. I think the show has evolved. Our show, our songs, our set lists, her involvement in the songs have changed. Maybe started off as more backgrounds, and now she's really moved forward to the front person that she is. Her character, Machine Girl, is a force to be reckoned with. So it's basically just open-minded, being as artsy as we can, being as creative as we can, and really taking our fans, serious, and making sure that they don't leave where they're watching the show from. Entertainment is where we're at, and I think it's important for us to deliver, and that's what we do. Our fans travel a great distance to see Beasto Blanco, and we go out of our way to make sure that we deliver for them.
Yeah, that's cool, man. You've been playing with Alice Cooper since 2003, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a long time, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, and you co-wrote a couple of songs on Along Came a Spider, yeah, with Alice. Yep. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Killed by Death. Feminine Side, man, I think there was a couple others that I co-wrote on that record.
That's cool. How did that come about? Because obviously, you hadn't co-written with him before. How did the?
I did. I co-wrote on Eyes of Alice Cooper.
Oh yeah.
I co-wrote the song Detroit City, and then Dirty Diamonds. After that, I co-wrote a bunch of songs on that particular record. So just like we just submit a bunch of tunes for Alice and whoever the producer is at the time. He had some guys working with him. Along came a spider, and they were desperate for some material as they weren't quite delivering very well. But they brought in a band, and we all delivered some really great songs for them.
Oh, that's cool. And I also read you co-wrote with Dio, the Death to
Yeah.
Love. Yeah, that's crazy. How'd you get together
Yes,
with
I love
Dio?
it.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
I played with Ronnie for 2 years, toured the world with him, and he was recording the last Dio record that we didn't know was going to be his last, but Master of the Moon. And I had a song, basically no lyrics or melodies. Ronnie really liked the riff, and Death by Love was the song that he wrote lyrics and melody to, and I'm so proud of that tune.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Um, so yeah, you've played with and continue to play with some legends of rock and metal. Have
Yeah.
any of them inspired like your Beasto Blanco songwriting or the stage show or anything like that?
Yeah, man, I'm just a big rock and roll child, man. I'm in, the guys that I've had a chance to back up and be in bands with, I've been listening to my whole life. And, the joke is with me is that I'm still going to band practice. I still am, just a massive fan of rock and roll. So I love it. I love being compared to my idols. I think it's a real honor because it's important that, and I have made it my own. You can compare it, but there's no direct rip-offs. But it's impossible not to have your influences in there. And there's so many musical influences in my life, and I've had the honor to back up most of these guys that I grew up listening to. So yeah, direct answer is absolutely they've inspired me. And on and off stage, I've learned a lot how to deal with people off stage by working with Alice and Ronnie James Dio, and to really have respect and really care about your fans. That's what I've learned the most about with these guys, which I do think is the most important part of doing what we do.
Yeah, that's cool, man. But yeah, like you've obviously played in front of big crowds with them and stuff. You must sort of see, oh, this kind of thing works with a crowd. This kind of translates, that sort of thing. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all, and you know what I've realized too with Alice, man, is it's okay to try new things, and if they fail, they fail. If they kind of fall flat, they fall flat. You know what? It's an experience you're having with your community. You're with your fans. So we're gonna try something. It might not work, it may, but at least they're there to experience it with you. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing about a live concert and having the opportunity to see your artist grow and being witness to something that of a new experiment. I think that's awesome. And I've always admired the fact that we've had so many different songs in our set list, from Alice Cooper to Beasto Blanco, and the ones that have seen it through the years know for a fact that there's been times where we've tried things and we won't ever do them again because we were able to kind of learn from it and make it better. But the people that were there that night got a real treat.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Yeah. So with Beasto Blanco and playing, with Alice and everything, is there ever clashes, or is it pretty easy to go, okay, Beasto's going to tour over here, and where are you going to play?
Yeah, it can get a little tricky. The scheduling thing can get a little tricky. It can get it's a bit of a headache as well, but I got a lot of support from the Alice Cooper camp and Alice Cooper himself. Alice Cooper comes first, and I work around his schedule. So we all try to plan as much as we can ahead of time and fill in the gaps.
That's cool.
As long as I got a bass guitar or a guitar around my neck and I'm in front of people, man, I'm doing good.
Yeah, awesome, Dave. That's cool. Well, look, if Beasto Blanco or the Freaks on Parade show want to make their way to Australia anytime soon, we'll be very happy to have you, man.
I tell you what, I would love to bring Beasto to Australia. That's our main goal right now. So it's guys like you that are taking the time to interview me, to talk about the record. Go play it on the radio, play it anywhere you possibly can. Tell as many people about it as you can. It's up to you guys to help bring us to Australia. You won't be let down. You can learn more about us on Spotify, as you know, and all those streaming sites. And I don't think we're too far away from getting there. There's a lot of work being done to make that happen. And once we can do it once, I think that it'll be a no-brainer getting our asses back there again.
Yeah, fantastic. Cool. Awesome, Chuck. Thanks for your time, man. I'm sure you have a blast on the road. Have a good one, man.
Take care, bro. Thanks for everything, man. Peace.
Cheers. And last up, Scooter Ward of Cold, a band that if you were around in the late 90s, early 2000s, you would be definitely familiar with. They're still going strong, still got a massive fan base, and they're coming to Australia. Here he is, this is Scooter Ward. Cold's going to play 3 shows over here with Orgy in October in Australia, celebrating 20 years of Year of the Spider. Are there any songs that you're playing on this tour that you haven't played for some time, going back to that album or anything?
I mean, we currently in the States, we just did last year we did Year of the Spider in its entirety for the anniversary.
Yeah.
So, cool. And after that we jumped on a tour with Orgy and they did the Candy Ass anniversary. So kind of just synced up to where this all makes sense of us both coming together to play both albums.
Yeah, cool. I read, way back originally, Fred Durst helped you guys get signed originally, yeah? How did that happen? Do you guys know each other? Did he see a show? What happened there?
Yeah, we, in Jacksonville, we all grew up in Jacksonville, and, Fred had came in later. He's from Carolinas. And so, when we were a band, before Cold was Cold, we were called Grundig. We were like a sludge grunge band. And Wes Borland had opened up. He was in a band called Kronk with his little brother, and they were young, and we had played with them a lot, and we were kind of a big name in Jacksonville at the time. And so Otto and Sam Rivers and everybody were all Grundig fans. So when Fred came into the picture, he became a fan as well. And, when Korn found them, they got signed, and he turned the favor and got us hooked up. And, it was nice, man. We were all buddies, so we used to skate Fred's ramp and hang out at the house. We used his place for pre-production with Ross Robinson for the first album and stuff, so we were all kind of in the same practice room and everything. It was a family thing. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. There've been lineup changes since the start of Grundig in '86, but considering how long it's been since then, some of you played very long stints together, yeah?
Yeah, what was that question again? You mean the members?
Yeah, members. Yeah. Because looking at the timeline of band members, there's been very long stints of just the same people, right? You played together.
Yeah. It's been a long time. Of course, I feel any band with that much longevity that isn't a giant band making millions of dollars a tour, it's harder to keep everybody together, for a super extended period of time. So, yeah, man, everybody, they get older, they have kids, and they do their own thing, and they want a different life. So, for me, Cold has always just been I have to do it. It's instilled in me. So, I just keep the train moving.
Yeah, that's cool, man. How does songwriting work for Cold? Do you ever collaborate with members, or are you the head, I'm writing this stuff? How's that work?
It depends, on a lot of, on the first albums, I would come up with parts, the band would come up with parts, and we would all collaborate on things. And then once things started progressing and changed a little bit, certain people left the band, and, I think me and Sam were the first album. It was mostly us. We're in a band called, God, what's the name of that band? Oh, the Diablos. We were in a band called the Diablos, and a lot of that music came from Grundig and Diablos, and just things that I had written, Ugly, I'd written by myself when I was 16. All these songs just kind of compiled into what the first album was. And then on the second record, we had brought in Terry Balsamo, and he had helped with Just Got Wicked and a couple of songs with tapping. He brought a new element into the band and a new sound. So yeah, and then each record's different with the writing and what has happened, what goes on during that. The last few records, From Different Kind of Pain on, it's been more of a personal thing, and I definitely love bringing the songs in and then letting everybody add to them and be artistic with them and bring their own thing. But at this point, it's very important that we keep the Cold sound, and that kind of vibe that fans have grown used to over the years. So yeah, but after people have been in the band for a certain period of time, they get acclimated to how we perform, the emotion parts of the music, all of the things, to where I think it becomes easier for them when they're having input into future things.
The Things We Can't Stop came out, 2019. Is there any new cold in the pipeline, like another album or anything?
Yeah, we're actually hoping to, we're planning on doing a new album next year, and possibly an EP later in the year. So we're going to do two things next year. So a lot of music coming from Cold within the next, in 2025.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I saw you did guest vocals on a Tony Iommi song, yeah? Something Wicked This Way Comes, that unreleased one. How'd you get to work with Tony? That's amazing, man.
That was crazy. That was something where he was doing a project, and I think something happened with, I think Bob Marlette, one of the big producer, was working on it, and me and him were friends, and I got connected with Tony to do that. And I was a huge Black Sabbath fan, so I was doing it regardless. And then I think something happened with labels and something to where I think I did the track with Tony in Los Angeles, and something had happened where Peter Steele from Type O had came in last minute and wanted to do it. And of course he had a bigger name. So I believe that he ended up taking over that and doing it. However, we still released it like under the radar and just dropped it out so everybody could hear it, because I thought it was pretty cool. And I don't know, it doesn't matter to me about being released or anything, as long as I got to do something with me. I was cool with that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You're a huge Spider-Man fan, right?
I am. That gets misconstrued a little bit. I'm more of a Batman guy, but I know that when we were doing things, we did a song called What Happens Now. Our friend, our director, Mark Webb, that did Stupid Girl video, the PsyOps, the video game PlayStation for with my mind, and just got Wicked. And he, steadily just kept doing bands until he got big movies and things, and now he's doing Snow White. He did the Spider-Man movie. So when he was doing that, we were in the studio creating super fiction. And so I go, well, let's write a song for Spider-Man, send it in to Mark, because he's a pro, and who knows, if they get on that movie. And so when we did, and I think it happened like last minute, where the movie company decided to not use any rock bands on this, or any music. They just did all cinematic type orchestral things for the movie. So it didn't make that cut, but we still got a pretty cool song out of it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Are there any eras of Spidey or Batman that are like your favorite comic book runs or movies or anything like that?
I mean, my wife is really in the comic book land with all that stuff. I like the movies. The Christian Bale Batmans are my favorite. But I love them all.
Yeah, cool. You mentioned skating before. Do you still get on the board at all?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We were talking about that with our band, I think a year ago, and going on a tour, because we used to always carry our skateboards with us and stuff like that. However, we're a little older now, and the damage that could happen from doing what we do out there on skateboard is a liability. So I was like, yeah, let's not. I remember back in the day we would play with broke hands and all kinds of broke collarbones, all kinds of things. None of those happened from skateboarding, but it just became a thing where we were kind of like, let's not do that on tour anymore. However, I still have a couple of skateboards in the garage, and I'll skate around, just street skate a little bit.
Yeah, cool. Outside of your own stuff, what have you been listening to lately? What kind of music?
Recently, I mean, I've always been like a Manchester Orchestra and Interpol, or I listen to them frequently. But a newer band, well, they're not that new, but it's a band called Brutus. It's a 3-piece, and they're amazing. And I've really been getting into them. I think they're playing here in Kansas City next month with a band called Architects, and we're going to go see them just to see Brutus.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, as we said before, you're heading to Australia. Have you guys played here before?
No, we've never been over there. I really wanted to go. We did the UK and Europe a long time ago at the early 2000s, and we were slated to come over to Australia for a few shows, and something happened and we weren't able to get over there, and we've just been trying to get back ever since. So we were offered the opportunity, and especially to go over there with Orgy as we just got off tour, this made sense, and we're excited about it.
That's cool, man. Well, I'm sure the Cold Army over here is going to be very happy to see you, Scooter. Thanks heaps for your time, man. It's been cool to chat. Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Cool. Have a good one. See ya. Thanks for watching. Plenty of metal on this channel, so subscribe for more. I'm doing monthly metal hauls and also plenty more interviews and also plenty of music. Right now, here's another little tease for something coming up from Wrestle On Records. Thanks again for watching. Have a good one. See ya.